Hi, this is Praveen. Now, let us continue our journey across various physical features of India. Previously, we have covered the physical features of India like the Himalayas and the northern plains or the Indo-Gangetic Brahmaputra plains. Now, let us discuss about the peninsular plateau. This peninsular plateau is the largest physical feature of India as you can see here, and it is also the oldest physical feature of India. And this peninsular plateau is formed when the India was drifted from the Gondwana land as per the continental drift theory which was given by Alfred Wegener. Alfred Wegener was himself an German meteorologist, which means the person who studies about the climate and weather. And his ultimate aim was to study the climatic past in order to know the climatic future. So that he had two important things in his mind. The continents were drifting, climate was same, or the climate is changing, but the continents were at the same place. And as per this continental drift theory, the India, which was present day this, was divided from the Gondwana land. And this is how this peninsular plateau was formed. And after that, we will go to this peninsular plateau in detail now. This peninsular plateau is divided into two groups based on their topographical characteristics and the elevation. Elevation is nothing but height of a place above the sea level. This elevation can also be called as the altitude. And this peninsular plateau can be divided based on the river Narmada which flows in this region. And this Narmada river divides this peninsular plateau into two, at the central highlands to the north and also towards the south we find the Deccan plateau. And first let's start discussing about the central highlands, which is this region. So central highlands, this central highlands is comprises of few plateaus. Now let us look at those plateaus. First one is the Malwa plateau. Malwa plateau is the largest plateau in central highlands, and in this Malwa plateau we can find the rivers like Chambal, Ken, Betwa which flows towards their north. That means in this Malwa plateau they were sloped towards its north, and that is the reason why we have the rivers that flow towards the north, not towards the south. And also the average elevation of this Malwa plateau is 500 meters, and its undulating topography and also for its elevation. And undulating is nothing but the place which is having more ups and downs. And after that, this in this Malwa plateau it is bordered by the Aravalis here. So these ranges are the Aravalis. This Aravalis divide the Malwa plateau from the Great Indian Desert, which is also called as the third desert. So this range is the Aravalis. This Aravali range has its highest peak as the Guru Shikhar, which is situated in the Mount Abu. And Mount Abu is one of the famous hill stations in India. And the height of Guru Shikhar was 1722 meters. And these Aravali ranges are the old fold mountains. What are these fold mountains? These fold mountains are the mountains which were formed due to the process of folding. And we also find other fold mountains in India like the Himalayas. But those Himalayas were new fold mountains. That means the Himalayas were formed recently, that is 30 million years ago. And these Aravalis were formed before 66 million years. And the leading geographers of the world, they believe that the Aravalis were the highest peaks, highest mountain ranges in the world before the formation of the Himalayas. And it is about the Aravalis. Next, let's look at the next mountain range, that is Vindhyas. This Vindhyas is this range. The Vindhya range is parallel to the river Narmada, and this Vindhya range is towards the south of the Malwa plateau as we can observe. The highest peak in this Vindhya range is Sadbhavana Shikhar, which is nearly 700 meters above the sea level. So this G is Guru Shikhar, which is 1722 meters, and this S is Sadbhavana Shikhar, 700 meters, and this is about the Vindhyas. They run parallel to the river Narmada. And then this Vindhyas is also home to few rivers like Mahi. And after that we have next plateau which is called as the Bundelkhand plateau, that is this one. And further extension of this Bundelkhand plateau we find the Bagelkhand plateau. This Bundelkhand plateau and the Bagelkhand plateau, they were together is called as the Vindhyachal plateau. And these two plateaus were separated by a mountain range which is called as the Kaimur Hills. So this range is the Kaimur Hills. So this range is the Kaimur Hills which divides the Bundelkhand plateau and the Bagelkhand plateau. And after that we find another range above this Bundelkhand plateau which is called as the Sonapur Hills. This hills is called as the Sonapur Hills. And after that now let's go to the next one which is the Chota Nagpur plateau. This Chota Nagpur plateau is the richest mineral reserve for India. So this plateau is Chota Nagpur plateau. Chota Nagpur plateau is situated in Jharkhand, and this Chota Nagpur plateau contains 29% of total Indian minerals. And also this Chota Nagpur plateau is the only leading producer of pyrite, which is the ore of copper in India. And this Chota Nagpur plateau is surrounded by few mountain ranges. Now let us look at those mountain ranges. So the first one is this one. It is the Rajmahal Hills. These are the Rajmahal Hills. These Rajmahal Hills are situated towards the northeast of the Chota Nagpur plateau. And then we have the Ramgarh Hills. That is this range which is situated towards the northwest of Chota Nagpur plateau. So these are the Ramgarh Hills. And after that we find one more range, that is Hazaribagh range. So this range is Hazaribagh range. And we also find a plateau named as Hazaribagh which is situated towards the north of this Hazaribagh range. Now let's look at this plateau. It is the Hazaribagh plateau. So we also find Hazaribagh range as we have seen earlier. And after that these are Hazaribagh, and so these are the important plateaus in this Central Highlands. Next let's look at some other mountain ranges that are situated in Central Highlands. So first let's begin with the state Madhya Pradesh. In the state of Madhya Pradesh we find few mountain ranges. So this mountain range here is the Mahadev Hills. Mahadev Hills is the eastward extension of a range called Satpura. The highest peak of Satpura is this one. It is the Dhubgarh. So this D stands for Dhubgarh. So D stands for Dhubgarh, and its height is 1352 meters. And now let's look at the further extension of this Mahadev Hills, which is called as the Maikal range. Maikal range is situated in the Chhattisgarh Madhya Pradesh border. And next we have this hills which is called as the Garjat Hills. These Garjat Hills are situated at the Chhattisgarh Odisha border. And then we have the Malaigiri Hills. These Malaigiri Hills is situated only in Odisha, and the highest peak in Malaigiri Hills is also Malaigiri, which is this one. So M for Malaigiri. And after Malaigiri, now let's come to the Western Ghats. But before going to Western Ghats, let us first discuss about these ranges, which is this plateau which is called as the Peninsula Plateau. Firstly, let us start discussing about the features of Peninsula Plateau. In this Peninsula Plateau, we find the Deccan Plateau here. In this Deccan Plateau, we have few features which were important. So the few important features are, first one, they were composed of basaltic rocks, old igneous rocks, and old crystalline rocks and metamorphic rocks. And also, this Deccan Plateau is famous for the black soil and the red soil. And the famous black soils were situated in the Maharashtra Plateau, that is this one, and the red soils were mostly found in the Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and Karnataka Plateau. And the important laterite soils are found at Karnataka Plateau and the Tamil Nadu Highlands. So these are the features. Now let's look at the plateaus which were situated in the Deccan Plateau. Now let's see their names. First one is the Maharashtra Plateau. Maharashtra Plateau. This Maharashtra Plateau is situated only in Maharashtra. And then we have the Chhattisgarh Plains. Chhattisgarh Plains. These Chhattisgarh Plains are situated in Chhattisgarh. And after that we have the Dandakaranya Plateau. Dandakaranya Plateau, and above Dandakaranya Plateau we find the Odisha uplands. Odisha uplands, and below Dandakaranya range, below Dandakaranya Plateau we find the Telangana Plateau, which is situated only in Telangana. And below Telangana we find the Andhra Pradesh Plateau or the region of Rayalaseema. So it is Rayalaseema. And besides to this Rayalaseema, we find the Karnataka Plateau. Karnataka Plateau. And in the state of Tamil Nadu, we find the Tamil Nadu Highlands, which is this one. Tamil Nadu Highlands. And also, we find the Deccan Plateau in the northeast India as the Anglong Plateau, or the Meghalaya Plateau, or it is also called as the Northeast Plateau. So this is the Anglong Meghalaya or the Northeastern Plateau. So these are the plateaus which make up the Deccan Plateau. Now let us look at the mountain ranges in this Deccan Plateau. Firstly, let us begin with the Western Ghats. In this Western Ghats, this is a continuous chain as you can observe. So that is the reason if we want to cross the Western Ghats, we have few mountain passes like the Palghat which is situated here, and we also have the Bor Pass, etc., which we will discuss later. And this Western Ghats is situated in 4 states. In 4 states they are Maharashtra, next we have the Karnataka, Kerala, and also we have Tamil Nadu. So these are the states through which this Western Ghats passes. And after Western Ghats, now let's look at the ranges which also come as a part of Western Ghats. Firstly, let's begin with this range which is situated below the Satpuras. So this range is Gauligar Range. Gauligar Range. This Gauligar Range is situated in the Maharashtra Plateau, which is the part of the Deccan Plateau as we have seen earlier. And after that, beside a very short distance between Western Ghats and this range, it is called as the Satmala Range. These are the Satmala Range, and at the Maharashtra Telangana we find the Satmala Hills. So these are the Satmala Range and these are the Satmala Hills. Satmala Hills, and Satmala Hills is situated in Maharashtra and Telangana as you can observe. And the next range is the Ajanta Hills. Ajanta Hills is also situated at Maharashtra. At the region of Ajanta Hills, we find the Ajanta Caves, which is one of the oldest caves in India. And after that, now let's come to the south of the Maharashtra Plateau, where we could find the Harishchandra Range. Harishchandra. And also we find one more range which is the Balaghat Range. So these are the ranges in Maharashtra Plateau. Next, let's go to Karnataka Plateau. In this Karnataka Plateau, the important mountain range is this one. It is the Babu Badan Hills. These are the Babu Badan Hills. These are situated in the Karnataka Plateau. And in this Karnataka Plateau, the Babu Badan Hills, we find the production of coffee and tea in this region. And after that, next let's go to the Eastern Ghats. But before going to Eastern Ghats, now let's go to the Western Ghats, which continues up to the Cape Comorin, which is situated in Kanyakumari. Firstly, let us start with this range. It is the Nilgiris. So this range is Nilgiris, and this Nilgiris is also called as the Blue Mountains. And the highest peak in Nilgiris is Doddabetta, which is this one. And Nilgiris is also famous for the production of coffee, and it has a large number of laterite soil. And in this region, we find few hill stations, and the important ones are Ooty and Kodaikanal. Ooty is also called as the Udagamandalam. And below Nilgiris, these western Ghats are called as, so this range below Nilgiris is called as the Annamalai Hills. Annamalai is a Kerala word, a Malayalam word, and in this Annamalai we find the highest peak of South India, which is called as the Annaimudi. So this D is Doddabetta, which is 2635 meters above the sea level, and A is Annaimudi, 2696 meters above the sea level. This Annaimudi is the highest peak in the Peninsula Plateau, as you can see here. In this, all these peaks which we have seen, in these peaks the Annaimudi is the highest. And we have this Palani Hills here, and also we have the Cardamom Hills. This Cardamom Hills is famous for the production of spices, and it is situated in both Kerala and Tamil Nadu. And after this, now let's come to the Eastern Ghats, which is this one. In this Eastern Ghats, we find many discontinued ranges, and due to these discontinued ranges, we do not find any kind of mountain passes in the Eastern Ghats, whereas in Western Ghats, we find many mountain peaks, mountain passes and mountain peaks, because of the fact that these are the continuous ranges, but these Eastern Ghats are not continued. And after this Eastern Ghats, now let's go to the ranges in Eastern Ghats. First, let us begin with the Palakonda Hills. Palakonda Hills is situated only in Andhra Pradesh. And next we have the Nallamala Hills, which is this one. This Nallamala Hills is famous for the Nallamala forest, which is an evergreen forest. And after that we have the Verikonda Hills. This Velikonda Hills is also situated in Andhra Pradesh, and it is situated at both the regions, Rayalaseema and coastal Andhra. And next we have one more hill region which is called as Erramalla. This Erramalla Hills is parallel to the Nallamala Hills. And then finally we have the Seshachalam Hills. This Seshachalam Hills is the smallest hill region in the state of Andhra Pradesh. And in this Seshachalam, we find a biosphere reserve which is called as the Seshachalam Biosphere Reserve. In this Seshachalam Hills, we find a famous stone, that is Tirupati, which is famous for the Sri Lord Venkateshwara Swami's temple. And this Tirupati is situated here. And after that, now let's come to the Tamil Nadu, the state Tamil Nadu. So here we find Javadi Hills. Javadi Hills, they are situated only in Tamil Nadu, and they were very closer to the Arabian Sea, and they act as the rain shadows for this region. And this rain shadows is nothing but when the rain comes from the Bay of Bengal to this region, these hills, Javadi Hills, and the next one is the Chevroy Hills, they act as the rain shadows. That means they stop the rain to enter into this region. But due to the over rain that was carried out by these clouds, this can cross these Javadi and Chevroy Hills. And another important reason, these hills have a less height. That is the reason they can cross easily. And after that, this is about the Eastern Ghats. And now let's go to the important peaks in Eastern Ghats. Firstly, the first one is this one. It is Mahendragiri. So it is Mahendragiri. Which is 1506 meters. And the next peak is Araku. Araku is the famous hill station in Andhra Pradesh. And after that, these are the hills in Eastern Ghats. And in this peninsula plateau, we find many mineral reserves as we have seen earlier. And the important such reserves, mineral reserves are iron ore, the bauxite, which is the ore of aluminium, the coal, the copper, which we have seen earlier in this Chotanagpur plateau as pyrite, the manganese, the iron ores, etc. And so this is all about the Peninsula Plateau. We will discuss about the next three physical features of India in my next videos. Thank you.